Ladies, let me tell you something powerful, something that changes the entire game without saying a single word. Have you ever caught yourself staring at your phone, waiting, hoping for his message that never comes, that awful silence, that shift from sweet interest to cold indifference? Suddenly, he's distant, quiet, or worse, acting like you were never even there. I know how that feels, and I also know the temptation to double text, to check his social media, to ask, did I do something wrong? But I'm telling you right now, don't. Because what I'm about to share with you is far more powerful. It's called the Stoic Comeback. And it's not loud, it's not emotional, it's not about proving anything. It's a calm, confident shift that makes a man feel your absence and regret it. Here's the truth most people won't say out loud. Chasing a man, explaining yourself, trying to fix what he's breaking, it only pushes him further away. Men don't respond to pressure. They respond to space. They don't miss the woman who clings. They miss the woman who becomes unreachable. The one who leaves with her dignity intact and doesn't look back. This isn't about playing games. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about understanding male psychology and becoming the woman who is remembered, missed, and felt. So if you're tired of feeling powerless when he pulls away, stay with me. Because what I'm about to reveal will flip the entire dynamic and put you back in control. Let's begin. 1. Detach emotionally, control your reaction. The moment he starts pulling away, you feel it. Not in your mind, in your chest. That sharp sinking feeling, that gut-wrenching silence. You check your phone. Nothing. You replay every conversation, searching for a clue. Did I say too much? Did I say too little? And then, almost without thinking, your fingers hover over the keyboard. Hey, is everything okay? Stop. Right there. Because this is the exact moment where most women lose their power. They react, they reach out, they chase clarity, validation, and reassurance from a man who's giving them none. And here's the cruel irony. The more you reach, the more he pulls. The more you try to fix it, the faster he checks out. But what if I told you the most powerful move isn't a text, isn't a call, isn't anything you say? What if the strongest response was silence? Nothing. Because here's what most women don't realize. Men aren't wired like you. Where women seek connection through communication, men process attraction through space, challenge, and mystery. Once he knows he has you, he stops chasing. Not because he's cruel, but because biologically, a man doesn't value what's handed to him. He values what he has to earn. So when a woman reacts emotionally to his distance, whether with frustration, confusion, or even passive silence, she confirms what he was starting to suspect. He's in control. But a woman who masters emotional detachment, she becomes unforgettable. Picture this. He starts texting less. His replies are cold. He pulls away. Most women panic. They overcompensate. They text more. They post strategically. They make themselves more available, hoping he'll notice. But the woman who knows her worth, she does none of that. She leans back. She lets the silence exist. She doesn't chase. She doesn't fill the void. She becomes the mystery he didn't expect. And suddenly he's thinking, why isn't she reacting? Is she pulling away? Is she done with me? That's when the power dynamic flips. Because now he feels the uncertainty. He feels the loss. Not because you played a game, but because you didn't let his distance decide your value. Let me be real with you. Detaching emotionally isn't easy. You'll want to check his page. You'll want to send just one message. You'll want to post that photo he might see. But that's where your power is tested. Emotional detachment is about discipline. It's the art of observing your emotions without being ruled by them. Feel the fear, feel the anxiety, but don't act from it. And remember this, a man who truly values you will never leave you guessing. He won't put you in a position to beg for clarity. So when he pulls away, that is the message. Your job is not to decode it. Your job is to decide whether you're going to entertain a man who communicates through absence. And here's where it gets powerful. When you stop chasing, when you stop giving energy to someone who isn't showing up, you become the woman he remembers. The woman who didn't fight for a spot in his life because she already knows she's the prize. So when he finally comes back, and trust me, he will, you don't just take him back like nothing happened. You don't reward inconsistency with excitement. You don't make it easy for him to return. Because now he has to earn his place again. And when he realizes your emotions are no longer tied to his actions, he feels something rare, uncertainty. And that is where attraction is reborn. This isn't about pretending you don't care. This is about knowing you're the damn universe, and he's just passing through. So the next time he pulls away, don't panic, don't chase, don't react. Let the silence do the talking. Let your absence say everything. Because the only response a man truly understands is the one he never saw coming. 2. Shift your focus, reinvest in yourself. The moment you stop reacting, something powerful happens. You reclaim your energy. The energy you've been unknowingly giving away to a man who's not even showing up. Think about it. How much mental real estate has he occupied? How many hours have you spent replaying conversations, analyzing his texts, scrolling through his socials, trying to decode his silence? That ends today. Because here's the truth. The more you focus on him, the less control you have over you. But the second you shift that focus inward, back to yourself, something almost magical begins to happen. Most women think the key to getting a man's attention back is action. Craft the perfect message. Post the right picture. Make him jealous. Make him miss you. But no. The most magnetic thing you can do is this. Become so deeply invested in your own growth that his absence becomes irrelevant. When you make yourself the main character of your story, you don't chase energy, you attract it. And yes, men notice. They always do. The energy of a woman who's elevating, who's glowing, growing, and living is impossible to ignore. So what does that look like? It means every ounce of energy you would have wasted worrying about him, you redirect it to your health, to your goals, to your passions, to your evolution, physically, mentally, emotionally. Because here's what no one tells you. When your happiness depends on his attention, he feels that. And nothing kills attraction faster than neediness. But when your world is full, when you're thriving regardless of whether he texts you or not, he feels the shift. You're no longer orbiting around his silence. You're no longer available for breadcrumbs. You've outgrown the game, and now you are the table. Picture this. He checks his phone, expecting a message from you. Nothing. He opens your socials, half expecting a cryptic quote. A thirst trap, something that screams, I miss you. But instead, he sees you, thriving, not pretending, not performing, but glowing from the inside out. You're at the gym, you're laughing with friends, you're diving into passion projects, you're not posting for him, you're living for you. And suddenly, a thought creeps in. Did I lose her? Did she move on? Now the mystery is working in your favor. Because let me tell you something about men. We don't handle feeling replaceable well. We assume you'll wait, that you'll still be there when we feel like coming back. But when you're not, when he senses that he was just a chapter in your story, not the whole damn book, that's when the regret sets in. And here's the best part. By the time he realizes it, you won't even care. Because you'll be too busy becoming her. The woman you were always meant to be. And that is the real flex. This isn't about playing hard to get. This is about being hard to get. Because a woman who values herself doesn't chase a man who ignores her. She doesn't beg. She doesn't shrink. She doesn't wait around hoping. She rises. She becomes so magnetic, so unstoppable, that any man not on her level either steps up or fades out. Now I know some of you are thinking, but what if I still want him back? What if this is just a phase? Here's your answer. If he's truly meant for you, he will come back. But when he does, he won't be coming back to the same woman. He'll be coming back to a woman who's elevated, who didn't pause her life for his silence. And just like that, the power dynamic has shifted. Because now, he's chasing you. So ask yourself right now, who do you want to be? The woman who puts her life on hold when a man pulls away? Or the woman who becomes so radiant, so fulfilled, that men feel lucky to exist in her energy? That choice is yours. And the sooner you make it, the sooner your entire life begins to change. If this spoke to you, if you're done reacting and ready to start rising, drop it in the comments, like this video, and hit that subscribe button. Because what I'm about to share next will change the way you handle every man in your life. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. 3. Use mystery to create intrigue. There's something undeniably powerful about a woman you can't quite figure out. The moment a man thinks he knows you, knows your patterns, your reactions, your next move, he stops being curious. And the moment he stops being curious, he starts taking you for granted. But when there's mystery, when he's unsure what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you might do next, that's when you become unforgettable. Let me break this down. Most women, when they feel ignored, do the exact opposite of what actually works. They over-explain, they overshare, they text long paragraphs, trying to clarify, to fix, to make him understand how much they care, thinking, if I can just express myself, he'll change. But that's not how men work. A man doesn't fall for you because you tell him how you feel. He falls for you because you make him feel something he can't fully explain. Now imagine this, every morning you send a sweet message, something thoughtful, consistent, it becomes routine, he expects it. And because it's expected, it starts to lose value. But one day, you don't text, you don't post, you don't drop any clues, and suddenly there's a shift. At first he shrugs it off, but as the hours pass, as he scrolls through his phone and sees nothing, his mind starts racing. Did she forget? Is she upset? Is she with someone else? And just like that, your silence becomes louder than any message you could have sent. This is what mystery does. It doesn't scream, it whispers, it lingers, and it hooks him in a way that words never could. Because now, he's thinking about you, not because you chased him, but because you pulled back. And here's where most women go wrong. When he finally reaches out, and he will, they respond immediately. Eager, emotional, relieved. They confirm his place in their world. They show that, yes, they were waiting. But you're different. You take your time. Not to play games, but because you're not sitting around holding your breath. Maybe you wait. Maybe when you do respond, you keep it light, effortless, a little detached, not cold, not rude, but different. Just enough for him to feel the shift. And that subtle shift, it plants a seed of uncertainty in his mind. Wait, did something change? Is she pulling away? Is she slipping out of my hands? And suddenly, the man who assumed you'd always be there starts wondering if you're already gone. This is how men fall back into pursuit, not through pressure, not through pleading, but through presence, followed by distance, through intimacy, followed by mystery, because men chase what they can't fully have. It's not about playing hard to get, it's about being hard to get. And a woman who knows her worth, who lives a full, vibrant, beautiful life, is hard to get. Not because she's trying to manipulate, but because she's genuinely not waiting on a man's attention to feel whole. Let's be clear. Mystery isn't about disappearing. It's not about ignoring him for days. It's about breaking patterns, about being unpredictable in a powerful way. It means you don't overshare. You don't explain everything. You don't let him read you like an open book. Sometimes you shift the tone. Sometimes you hold something back. Sometimes You just live your life without making a public statement about it. And that leaves a mark. Think about the women men never forget. They're not the ones who begged for attention. They're not the ones who were always available. They're not the ones who made their love too easy to earn. They're the ones who had something different. A presence that lingered. A vibe that couldn't be duplicated. A kind of mystery that made men chase with intention. So the next time you feel the urge to text, to explain, to seek reassurance, stop. Ask yourself, what would a woman who truly values herself do? Would she spill her heart in a long message? Or would she let her silence speak volumes? Would she try to prove her worth? Or would she be the worth effortlessly? Mystery is not a game. It's an energy, a frequency, a way of moving through the world that says, I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it to anyone. And when a man senses that, he doesn't just notice it, he craves it. 4. Let time work in your favor. Patience is power. In a world addicted to instant gratification, where everyone wants quick replies, fast validation, constant attention, a woman who knows how to wait holds unmatched control. Because time is a weapon most women forget they have. The longer you hold your silence, the louder it echoes in his world. The more space you leave behind, the more he starts to feel it. Not right away, not at first, but give it time. And something shifts. See, most women panic. They think, if I don't reach out, I'll lose him. If I stay silent, he'll forget I exist. So they rush to remind him, to prove their place, to beg for clarity. But here's the truth. Men don't miss what's always available. They don't value what they believe they already have. But when you do nothing, when you let him sit in your absence, you give time the space to work its magic. At first he might feel relief. He might think she finally stopped. But as the days pass, as he checks his phone and finds nothing, no message, no post, no breadcrumb, the silence starts to get heavy. That's when he begins to wonder, did she move on? Did I push her too far? Why haven't I heard from her? And just like that, you go from being predictable to becoming a question mark in his mind. And there's nothing more haunting to a man than a woman he can't read anymore. But this is where most women break. They wait a few days, then crack. They send a just checking in message. They post something just to get his attention. They try to get a reaction because they need one. But the moment you do that, you've given the power back. You've answered the question for him. You've shown him you're still there, still hoping, still waiting. And the second a man knows that, he stops feeling urgency. He relaxes, and you vanish from the forefront of his mind. But a woman who understands the power of time, she doesn't chase. She doesn't break silence. She doesn't seek answers because she already knows her worth. And when he finally reaches out, because he will, she doesn't respond like nothing happened. She doesn't pour out her heart in relief. She's different, composed, a little more distant, not cold, but changed. And that change is what hits him. Because suddenly, he's not sure where he stands anymore. He thought you'd still be there, but you're not. At least not in the same way. That energy, that subtle shift, it's what wakes him up. And here's the part no one talks about. The longer you wait, the stronger your impact. The more time you give him to feel your absence, the deeper the void becomes. He starts replaying memories. He starts comparing you to others. He starts wondering if he made a mistake. And eventually, he starts to regret. But here's the twist. While he's regretting, you've been growing. You've been healing, thriving, rebuilding. You've stepped into a version of yourself that doesn't need to be chosen, because she chooses herself. And now, when he finally reaches out, the real question isn't, will he come back? It's, do I even want him anymore? Because time didn't just work on him, it worked on you. And when you finally see him clearly, not through longing, not through nostalgia, but through truth, you may realize the man who ignored you, the man who made you question your worth, the man who thought he could come and go, was never good enough for the woman you've become. So let time do what it does best. Let silence speak. Let absence teach him what presence once gave him. And while he's wondering if he still has a chance, you'll be living, you'll be evolving, you'll be stepping into something so much better than what you were willing to settle for. If this struck a chord, if you're done chasing and ready to start attracting, drop a in the comments. Like this video. And hit subscribe. Because what's coming next will completely rewire how you see love, self-worth, and your feminine power. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. 5. Flip the power dynamic. Make him chase. There's a shift. A quiet, powerful shift that happens the moment a woman stops waiting, stops wondering, stops overanalyzing every word, every silence, every move. And in that moment, when she finally realizes she was never meant to chase him in the first place, everything changes. Because men are wired to pursue. The second they feel like they don't have to try, the second they believe they've already won, the spark begins to fade. This is why, when a man pulls away and a woman chases him, asks him what's wrong, tries to fix it, proves her loyalty, shows she still cares, he doesn't feel pressure to do anything. She's already confirmed it. She's still there, still invested, still his, even if he's not showing up for her. But the second she stops reacting, the second she pulls back, not with spite, not with games, but with self-respect, he feels it. Uncertainty. And here's the truth. Men don't chase what they feel certain about. They chase what they fear they might lose. This isn't about playing games. This isn't about faking indifference. This is about understanding one simple fact. People value what they believe they could lose. If he thinks you'll always be there, no matter how he shows up or how little effort he gives, he won't step up. But if that changes, if the energy shifts, if he starts to sense that maybe, just maybe, he doesn't have the access he once did, that's when the chase begins. The power isn't in pretending. It's in embodying the truth. You are the prize. You do not chase. You do not prove. You do not perform for love. You simply let him realize that if he wants you in his life, he has to earn his place. And how do you do that? By pulling your energy back. By refocusing on yourself. By living in such a way that without saying a word, you make it clear. You are not waiting. Most women fear that if they pull away, he'll forget about them. That if they stop showing interest, he'll move on. But here's the truth. If space makes him disappear, then he was never really there. A man who values you, who sees your worth, will feel the distance. And he won't drift further. He'll move closer. Now let's talk about what happens when you flip the power dynamic. The moment you stop initiating, the moment you stop making him the center of your world. He notices. At first, he may act unaffected. He may tell himself, she's just busy. But time passes. Silence stretches. And suddenly, a thought hits him. Did I lose her? That thought, that's when instinct kicks in. That's when a man's drive to chase comes alive. Because men are wired to pursue what feels valuable, not what feels guaranteed. And when he senses that you are no longer emotionally invested, not angry, not bitter, just different, he begins to act. He texts first, he calls more. He starts trying to get your attention. He wants to know what changed, why he no longer has the certainty he used to take for granted. But here's the part that separates the powerful woman from the woman stuck in a cycle. When he comes back, you don't make it easy. Most women get excited. They respond quickly. They reward him too fast. They go back to old patterns. And just like that, he knows. She was never gone. She was just waiting. And the chase ends. The key is this. When he returns, you maintain your standard. You don't rush to reply. You don't immediately say yes. You don't let him pick up where he left off. You let your actions speak. Things have changed. You've changed. And now he has to earn you. This isn't about revenge. It's not about ego. It's about value. You don't give your energy to someone who hasn't shown they're worthy of it. You don't tolerate inconsistency, breadcrumbing, or effort. That only shows up when it's convenient, because the second a man realizes he no longer has unlimited access to you, that he's the one who has to step up. That's when he sees you differently. This shift, it changes everything. You go from being the woman who waits for attention to being the woman who commands it effortlessly. You go from being anxious when he pulls away to being unfazed. You go from seeking validation to being the kind of woman who needs no confirmation of her worth, because she knows. And here's the best part. When you become that woman, when you truly own your value, you stop attracting men who play games, you stop being pulled toward the unavailable ones, the inconsistent ones, the ones who make you question your worth, because your new standard filters them out. So let him feel the shift. Let him feel the change. Let him feel what it's like to no longer be certain of you. And when he finally realizes that he has to earn your presence, you decide if he's even worth it. Because a high-value woman, she doesn't chase, she attracts, she doesn't wait, she chooses. And once you fully step into that energy, you will never again wonder if a man wants you. Because the right man, he'll make sure you never have to ask. 6. Establish new standards for your attention. The real lesson in being ignored isn't about getting him back. It's about realizing this. Your energy is currency, your time is sacred, and your presence, that's a privilege, not a free-for-all. A woman who keeps giving her energy to a man who doesn't value it isn't proving how deeply she loves. She's proving how little she requires, but that ends now. Because starting today, you set a new standard. Now, you become the woman who does not tolerate inconsistency, the woman who does not explain away poor behavior, the woman who no longer accepts breadcrumbs when she deserves the whole damn loaf. Because the way a man treats you, that's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of what you allow. Let that sink in. If he disappears for days and slides back in with a casual, "Hey," and you respond, without requiring more, you're teaching him, "This is enough to keep access to me." And that's why so many women feel stuck in these cycles. Because they reward bad behavior with continued attention, not realizing that love is not the cure for lack of effort. A man doesn't step up because you love him harder. He steps up when he realizes that he could lose you. And he only realizes that when you raise your standards, not with words, with actions. Picture this, he pulls away. He goes silent, leaves you wondering. But instead of shrinking, chasing, or questioning yourself, you rise. You shift your energy inward, you prioritize you, and just like that, he comes back. Because they always do. But here's where it matters. How you respond in that moment determines everything. Most women slip back into old patterns. They welcome him without question. They feel like they've won him back. But the truth? The moment you let a man return without proving he's changed, you lose the power you built. Because now he knows he can treat you any way he wants and still have access to you. But you're not her anymore. You don't go back to old dynamics. You don't make room for half-hearted effort. You don't reward inconsistency with your time. You make it clear, if he wants you, he shows up, fully, consistently, with real intention. Anything less, he doesn't get you. Simple. This is where many women hesitate. They fear that raising their standards will scare men away. But hear this. The only men afraid of high standards are the ones who cannot meet them. And those aren't your men. The one who is for you, the one who sees you, who respects what you bring, he will rise. He won't need to be pushed or begged, he'll want to. So ask yourself, how many times have you made excuses for a man? How often have you lowered your expectations just to keep someone? How many times have you accepted almost when you were worthy of everything? That ends now. Because the woman you are becoming, she doesn't question her worth. She doesn't accept mixed signals. She doesn't stay just because someone comes back. She requires effort, consistency, presence. And if a man can't offer that, she walks without flinching. And here's the magic. When you become this woman, the wrong men fall away. But the right ones, the ones who see you, they step forward. Because high standards don't repel love, they attract the right kind. So the next time he circles back, don't ask, do I still want him? Ask, does he deserve me? And if the answer is no, you walk. Because a woman who values herself does not lower her standards to keep a man. She requires him to rise to meet them. And if he can't, then you've already won by letting him go. 7. The ultimate power move. Genuinely move on. The greatest power move you will ever make isn't blocking him, isn't unfollowing, isn't posting to prove you're unbothered. It's this, genuinely moving on, not out of revenge, not to make him miss you, but because you've grown past the version of yourself who ever waited for crumbs. This isn't bitterness. This is rebirth. It's a shift so deep, so sacred, that his absence no longer stings. Not because he didn't matter, but because you matter more. You stop measuring your worth by a man's attention. You stop wondering, hoping, overanalyzing. Because by the time he realizes what he lost, you've already outgrown him. Most women think moving on is a set of external actions. Delete, block, ignore. But real detachment, that's internal. It's the moment you realize you don't need him to circle back. You don't need closure. You don't need anything he failed to give the first time. Because now, you're giving all of that to yourself. You are no longer the woman who waits. You are no longer emotionally invested in someone who couldn't match your energy, your presence, your heart. And that, right there, is what makes him actually regret losing you. Not the games, not the thirst traps, not the look at me now posts, but your genuine indifference, the fact that when he finally reaches out, you're not bitter, you're just done. And that's where your power lives. Because the woman who no longer craves a man's attention becomes magnetic, not just to him, but to the world. Because there is nothing more intoxicating than a woman who has fully let go. You can't fake that. You can't mimic that. It's earned. And now you're living. Not to prove anything, not to get a reaction, but because life is too full to keep shrinking for someone who didn't see you the first time. You begin to see the abundance, the open doors, the people and opportunities that were always waiting for you. On the other side of letting go, you remember the woman you were before the waiting, before the second guessing, before the story you told yourself that he was the prize, because he never was. You were. You are. Here's the truth no one tells you. Once you truly move on, the universe moves with you. Suddenly you're not chasing. You're attracting. Men who see you. Men who show up. Men who don't need to be convinced of your value, because they already feel it. You stop fixing men who don't even know what they want. You stop explaining your needs to people who never intended to meet them. And the best part? When he finally realizes what he lost, you won't care. You'll be too lit up, too full, too grounded in your own joy to even look back. Because this was never about making him regret losing you. The goal was to become the woman who never puts herself in that position again. And when you step into that power, you don't just move on, you rise. The most powerful thing you can do when a man ignores you is not to chase, not to perform, not to try harder. It's to reclaim your energy, turn it inward, walk away with grace and certainty. Because at the end of the day, this was never about him. It was always about you, about how you love yourself, about what you allow, about the standard you set for what love feels like in your life. A woman who knows her worth does not lose sleep over a man who couldn't recognize it. She does not beg. She does not shrink. She chooses herself. She becomes the kind of woman whose confidence is unshakable, whose peace is unmatched, whose energy says one thing: you may have missed your chance, but I will never miss mine. So let this be that moment where you stop waiting, where you stop wondering, where you stop giving your energy to men who do not match it. Let this be the moment you say goodbye, not to him, but to the version of you who ever needed to be chosen. Because from now on, you choose you. And when that happens, your entire world shifts, not because you chased something better, but because you finally became it.